Hey, everybody. Good evening, or depending on where you are. For me, it's on the East Coast. Good evening. Um, we're doing a webinar about the MySafe Florida Home program and the MySafe Florida Condo program. And we've got a bunch of people to talk to you today. And if you ever need to reach out to any of them, we'll go over all the contact information and we'll go over the program and the details. But in general, I want to show you how to start off finding the general information about Florida, because this is a Florida program. But before we get there, let me just say thank you to Michelle Shishilla. Thanks for she manages the entire program, both programs, all the programs and special programs. Michelle does a ton of stuff for InterNACHI. And also thanks AJ for putting this together and doing all the admin work and management work. We've got Ramon Colon and Crystal Colon. And Isaac, he's an inspector who wants to share how participating in InterNACHI's program down in Florida helps him and how he does it and what's difficult and what's easy and what's good and all that good stuff. So we'll hear from Isaac there. And so let me show you like where to begin. Where do you find anything of InterNACHI? That's usually a pain in everyone's keister trying to find information that is critical, right? So what I would do is I'd go to any nachi.org page, log into your dashboard at the top right corner, and then after you log in, go over to the left-hand side. It's called Local Resources. You click that button and you scroll down and you click where you're from. So you can click anything, but we're going to click Florida because this is the Florida MySafe Home program and the Florida MySafe Condo program. And on this page, there's a ton of information for you about pre-licensing and examinations and insurance and training and wind mitigation and 4-point inspections and checklists and all that stuff. But if you go back to the top, there's two links up there. There's the MySafe Florida Condo Pilot Program and the link to the MySafe Florida Home Program. So I wanted you to have access to that. Again, it's log in, top right corner, my dashboard, go to local resources and click your area. So thank you for that. Michelle, you're up. Why don't you tell us all about the program and how it's going? How many inspections have InterNACHI inspectors, how many have they done down in Florida in this program?
So on the MySafe Home program, we've done, and I just looked at the numbers to verify, it's been about 53,000 inspections.
Wow, that's a
And
lot.
that's been over the last 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, it's very
Fantastic.
exciting. Very exciting.
Great job. Great job.
I have credit to our team and credit to all the inspectors. Like all I do is just, work with a bunch of great individuals who make everything happen. So I'm very blessed in that way.
Cool. Why don't you tell
So
us about the program?
sure. So my safe home. So I want to talk a little bit about both programs, but and then we'll dive a little deeper into both. So my safe home has been around for about 2.5, 3 years. And for those of inspectors who've been around for a long time, you know that it used to happen. There was a My Safe Home program back in 2007, and then the state brought it back. InterNACHI was one of the three WCEs, that's a wind certification entity, that was awarded one of the contracts to manage the program for the state. So the state is broken up into regions. And Ramon, I think you can share your screen so you can show the map that we have. So Ramon's going to show the map of the region. So there are three regions to the state. There's region one, it's identified by R1. There's R2 and R3. InterNACHI for My Safe Home currently has a contract for region 2, and we also do inspections for region 3. So those are the areas for My Safe Home that we can hire inspectors for. So when the program started, there were lots of initial inspections. So we did lots of initial inspections, and then the program got a refresh of money. There were a bunch of grants that were done. Currently, there are a lot of homeowners that are working on finishing up their grants. And now the main focus of that program is finishing up that whole entire process, which means homeowner goes to their portal and they request a final inspection. And then the inspector who did the initial inspection goes back to say, yes, you did everything correctly, or no, you didn't do everything correctly. Hopefully, it's not the second, of course, but unfortunately, it does happen. And there are some very specific requirements for the program in order to qualify for a grant. That's not really our wheelhouse. Our wheelhouse is to go out and inspect and then produce a report of what we find, and then the state handles the grant. So the inspections from that part of the program are slowing down. However, the legislature is just finishing up their current session, and there is an expected refresh of funds for a whole brand new set of inspections. There's a little bit of discrepancy on how much money that's going to be, but I anticipate that it'll be at least 100,000. So there will be new initial inspections done, which means it will be new work for inspectors. And obviously, that means I'll be able to look for some additional inspectors to participate in the program. People who have never been able to do inspections for this program, we'd like to be able to offer them that opportunity. So and I'll go over like how to become an inspector for the program as well. Like I'll give you some specific instruction. But I also want to talk for a minute about MySafe Condo, and then we'll talk about how to apply for both. So the MySafe Condo program is a pilot program. This was started last year in the legislature. The legislature said, okay, well, all of these people in homes we've been able to help. Let's figure out a way to help people in condos. At the same time, condos have to do their milestone inspections, and that's just because of the Surfside collapse. Some of you may be familiar with that, where the condo collapsed in South Florida. So they wanted to be able to provide assistance to associations on hardening their building. It may have, may help them with their milestone inspections, but basically make their condo stronger, since we've done such a good job with the My Safe Home program. So the state put out a request for proposals. InterNACHI was very blessed in the respect that we won that contract in its entirety for the entire state, which means we do condo inspections for all 3 regions for the My Safe Condo program. Now, it is a pilot program, which means it's in its test phase. So in its test phase, there weren't a lot of inspections assigned because they want to, make sure that we're doing everything that's going to be beneficial to the association, spend the government's money wisely, obviously, make as big of an impact as we can. So far, we've had really great success with doing our inspections. The inspections are pretty much done, at least the first half of that. However, we're going to be starting the grant phase, and then we're going to be starting the final phase. Something to note of this, though, is the legislature did make a change this year, and that change eliminated some condos from the program. And because of that, I anticipate a need to bring on inspectors who could do different types of inspections, type 2, type 3 inspections. And I also anticipate more initial inspections. So I think there'll be a need to fill inspectors for that as well. So how do you participate? I know there's been lots of inspectors who are excited to participate. So you're going to go to, like Ben said, go to your area, and then you can see the 2 programs that for our state. So you're going to go to Florida, and then you're going to see the 2 programs that we currently have for the state of Florida. And let's start with My Safe Home. Ramon, if you want to click on that one. All right, there's really important information on this page, okay? First of all, you have the begin boarding here. Now, take a look at the map. Remember, we can only hire inspectors in Region 2 and Region 3. So if you're in the counties in Region 2 and Region 3, great, InterNACHI can help you. If you're in Region 1, and Ramon, if you can scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we've listed the other WCE's contact information. So you can reach out to them. So that's going to be Don Myler, and that's going to be My Safe Home Inspection. So you can reach out to those companies and say, hey, are you hiring? and see what their process is for onboarding. The other piece of information that's really important on this page is we're going to need certain things. One of those things is proof of insurance, and you have to provide insurance certificates proving that. So the addresses we need for the insurance are right here on this page as well. That's just beginning information. Ramon, can you go to the portal, please? So where it says begin onboarding here. Now, when you get to this page, you'll see that it's on pause, and it's on pause because of what I mentioned earlier. A lot of the initial inspections and the funding for the original program is winding down. However, with the new money that's expected to come in, not yet approved, but 100% expected, and some of you may be aware there's a new wind mitigation form that's going to be coming out sometime this year, whether it's July, whether it's December. I expect that we're going to be doing more inspections, and I'm going to need to bring on new inspectors into this program. When that happens, this will change. It will no longer say on pause. All right. And then if you can scroll down a little bit, Ramon, it walks you through the steps of everything that needs to happen in order to participate. So some inspectors will email and say, hey, I want to participate. And I 100% understand it's a tremendous program. It's great for inspectors. But the best place for you to start and for you to help yourself is here. Because when we're looking to onboard inspectors, we have a dashboard that we go to look and see who's completed this dashboard, what counties do they service, what their experience is, and that's how we choose who we're going to bring on. And it doesn't always have to be the most experienced inspector. Sometimes it has everything to do with your attitude and how you communicate. And I'm going to introduce you to somebody who's a real shining example of that here in just a couple minutes. For MySafe Condo, it's the same process. You would click on the link for MySafe Condo. There's an information page. And then there is a item there that says click here to begin onboarding. Now Condo is a little different because we can do the 1802 on condos that are up to 3 stories. With this law change, we're only going to be doing 1802s on 3-story buildings. The rest of the inspections are going to be on 4 stories and above. And for condos that are 4 stories and above, we do need those other license types. So that's why they're here. They're very important. So if you're a certified building contractor, if you're a general contractor, if you're a code inspector, if you're an engineer, we would welcome your application. There's lots of areas where I could use individuals that have those type of licenses. Many of you are dual licensed, have many licenses. I would encourage you to apply. We have all 3 regions, if you remember. So, having somebody in the Panhandle would be extraordinarily useful. Having somebody in, South Florida, the Keys, we get a lot of inspections in Pinellas County, and we get a lot of inspections in like the Boca, Palm Beach County area as well. Like I definitely could use inspectors who are dual licensed. And that's mainly because of my expectation that we're going to see more of those 4-story and above condos, right? You do have to be a member of InterNACHI in good standing, a CPI, just like everything else. But you also have to have that license. So again, really important that you hit this portal page, complete it. One thing I do want to call out is you'll see on here a couple different things. So you'll see where we ask for copies of wind mitigation inspections, because we want to know that you've got some experience. These inspections are very challenging. They're not your average wind mitigation inspection. So if you're already new to that type of inspection, this is probably going to be very challenging. Doesn't mean it's impossible, just means it's challenging. So it's really good for you to show us your best work when you're uploading those. With the general liability, professional liability, E&O, which is professional liability, is required. Workers' comp or a proper exemption is required. So we need those certificates, and we do need the addresses that are on the beginning page before you get to this page. You'll notice on here where it says fingerprinting and background check, and it says do not pay. I don't like taking anybody's money unless I know for sure that it's going to pay, right? So once we've reviewed your wind mitigation inspections and we know that you're going to fit the criteria for the program, we shoot you a love note and say, hey, go ahead and pay for your fingerprinting. Go ahead and pay for your background check. Don't want anybody coming out of pocket for an expense if for some reason there's going to be something like maybe you don't have workers' comp or an exemption. And then that's something that I can't really help with, right? Needing a little bit more experience, that we can help you with, whether it's through an InterNACHI mentor or ride-alongs or whatever, like there are ways. So I just wanted to call those things out. Like, don't pay for something unless you've actually gotten a love note that says, hey, go ahead and make that payment, right? So what I thought I would do is I thought I would introduce a gentleman named Isaac. So Isaac joined our team fairly recently. It's been within this last year. And we weren't like actively needing inspectors. He did apply. I could have used an additional inspector, and we reviewed. He was not the most experienced. And I kind of had in my head, like, hey, let's pass. Truth be told, Isaac, love you, just being honest, right? What got Isaac the job is Isaac replied with such grace and said, I understand. I appreciate it. I look forward to any opportunity, any kind of information. If you ever need anything, I'm here for you. I just really appreciate the fact that you looked at my stuff and you're willing to give us, just a little bit of guidance on what we can do to improve. And the fact that his response was so graceful and so professional and just so he just showed such professionalism. I sent Ramon a love note. I said, he's on, he's got it, right? Because it was so impressive to me. So Isaac, if you want to take a minute to introduce yourself, and then I did forewarn you, of course, I've got some questions for you so you can share. But if you could please introduce yourself and tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm Isaac. I'm based out of Tampa, Florida. I've been a home inspector now for approximately 5.5 years. This is kind of a pinch me moment because I cannot believe that I'm in a room with people that I really looked up to. Ben, you were my best friend when I was graduate, basically going through the course. So I can't believe that I'm actually here with you guys. Um, I mean, it's been a really great experience from the moment that I applied. Like Michelle said, or mentioned earlier, there was really not a need, but I heard about the program and wanted to, bring my name up for the next available spot. And I am so grateful that I did because it has not only allowed me to continue to be busy, but also learn throughout the process. Ramon has been someone that any question that I have is always there to answer it. I see him more of a mentor than anything else. Sometimes in our industry, there can be a lot of, egos involved. And I have not come across that with anyone that I've come across with in the program, from Michelle, from Ramon, Ali, Crystal, who's always there to answer any question. It's just been an amazing experience for me. And I do wish that, in the future, more inspectors are able to, get a taste of it because what we do now, the way we document things for the program, it is how I now do it for my personal inspections when people call me for work. And it is a lot more detail, as Michelle mentioned. It takes a little adjusting to it, but it's very accurate and it leaves no room for error. And, it's something that it's beneficial for everyone involved, the homeowner, the contractor, the state. It will, the program also allows homeowners to be able to complete projects that otherwise they wouldn't be able to do on their own or wait a very long time. So it's great. I'm just very happy to be part of it and, continue to learn and progress and be part of it.
Awesome. Isaac,
Excellent.
thanks for being part of the team.
Sure.
Excellent. So, Isaac, thank you for sharing. So, what do you think is the hardest part about the program?
Well, for me personally, it was, as you mentioned earlier, it is not your typical wind mitigation. This report is a little more detailed. For me, it was basically going over what constitutes a opening versus a window. So that kind of takes a little bit of adjusting, but whenever I had questions, I know Ramon was there, Krista was there to answer them so that we can send the most accurate report. To me, it has been the documentation process. Just verifying that every Florida product code that constitutes an impact rating matches from one paper to the other. That has been probably the most difficult. And to be honest with you, sometimes when, telling that homeowner that the initial report may have not been as accurate as they thought it might have been, because that involves them losing some credits with insurance companies.
Yep, I absolutely agree because there are inspectors who complete wind mitigation, not by any fault of their own, may not realize that something isn't necessarily impact, right? Or something isn't necessarily considered a clip or a single wrap or whatever, because we have to uphold the highest standards when we're doing our inspections. We can't let anything slide. There's really not too much gray area at all. It either is impact or it isn't. And we have to have the documentation to back that up, right? And I remember a specific example, Isaac, where I had a homeowner singing your praises. And I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but you went to her house and she had all new doors put in, French doors,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And she was supposed to have received all impact French doors. And you knew something was off. And it appeared that the doors were manufactured incorrectly. And the cool thing was is you were able to give Ramon a call. He was kind of able to like talk you through some stuff, and then we were able to help the homeowner out, get her documentation and everything fixed. And so I know there's a lot of stuff that you've had the opportunity to learn that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do on your own doing a retail inspection, right?
100%.
Right. um what do you think is the best reason for somebody to participate?
Uh, well, I think, in the business that we're in, there are times when you're really busy and there are times when you're not so busy. It will keep you busy work-wise, but I think ultimately the best gift or the best experience that anyone can take out of this will be the learning curve. For me personally, just being able to gather everything that we do in the program and take it to my own company is the gift of life. I think the best gift you can give anyone is education. And I see this program, the way we document and the process to be very educational.
Excellent, excellent. So I have one other question for you. How has your experience in this program affected your relationships with other inspectors?
Well, that's a great question. So the inspectors that I personally speak to on once or twice a week, or we, get together and talk about, what's going on. It has made me more of not a teacher, but more of a way of showing them how we're doing it in the program. And it's something that 100% of them is like a group of or six of us continue to say, wow, this is really very detailed. So I think it has helped me to kind of not mentor them because I'm not a genius, but give them information on how to do the work more accurately.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Isaac, you are a real asset to our team. I very much appreciate the fact that you're with us, and I know you're out there sharing your knowledge with other inspectors. So
No, no problem. I just want to say
definitely
something real quick. And just being here means a lot to me. Um, Most people do not become a grow up and say, I want to be a home inspector. Most of us end up being a home inspector as a second career. For me, it happened right before COVID. And I believe InterNACHI is such a great institution. And I'm very proud to have my tag with me constantly. So just thank you for providing an outlet for so many people. Thank you for allowing us to have a second career in life. So I'm really honored, and thank you, Michelle, for taking my email when I emailed you. Crystal for always being there. Ramon, thank you so much. And just thank you from the whole state because it's really keeping a lot of people safer, as the name says.
Well, we're really lucky that Ben and InterNACHI, gave us the ability to participate in this program. So, I'm very thankful for InterNACHI for that, very thankful. So I agree.
Awesome, Isaac. Hey, Michelle, there's a form, right?
Hmm.
Are we going to be able to see the form? Is there software or something? Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, we totally can look at that. So I'm going to have Ramon share his screen. So,
Because this
um,
form, I don't do win mitts, but this form, everybody asks me for the 1802. And I'm like, oh,
right.
yeah, I know where it is. But like it is always changing, it's always updating every cycle. It's like, and you are in charge of a team, an IT team that has the software, the form in a software form, and it's essentially home inspection software for WinMits,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And for these programs, and how much does it cost a member to use this software?
It costs a InterNACHI member nothing to use the software.
Yeah,
It
free
is a
software.
benefit of being a InterNACHI member.
Yep.
And this is very exciting because we've spent, the last 2 years working on our wind mitigation form, constantly improving the software for all of the members in the state, knowing full well that eventually our goal was to release it to everybody for free.
Yep.
And that's exactly what InterNACHI has done. So if you are an InterNACHI member and you are looking for a way to do wind mitigation inspections and not have to worry about how are you going to add your pictures, right? How are you going to get those signatures from homeowners? How are you going to do all that? InterNACHI has your solution. So in your dashboard, when you are logged in, on the left-hand side, you'll see your menu bar. And so Ramon is scrolling down. He's got wind mitigation inspection. So if you click on wind mitigation, you're going to click on new report. And when you click on new report, that's going to open up the ability for you to do our wind mitigation inspection.
But Michelle, so this is open to anyone to do their own WinMit report, right? You don't have to actually
Absolutely.
participate in this
No,
program. This is free open software to anybody who wants to do a WinMit.
any InterNACHI member who wants to do a wind mitigation in the state of Florida can use this software for free.
That's
It's
awesome.
exciting. It's very exciting. I find this form very user friendly. There are a couple tips and tricks. And actually, with that, I think what I'll do, I think that's a good segue to introduce Ramon. So, for everybody who doesn't know Ramon, Ramon Colon has been an inspector in South Florida for a long time. I've actually known Ramon, I don't know if it's been 10 years. It might be 10 years. It might be. It might be longer than that. We met at a inspector event, and I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. And now I'm super lucky because he's on our team. So Ramon used to do these inspections for the My Safe Home program in the field. He helped us with development of this form, and now Ramon handles our quality control. So Ramon, can you kind of go through this form that Florida inspectors can use for free as being an InterNACHI member, and also, of course, tell them a little bit about yourself as well, your background?
So for those that don't know me, like Michelle said, my name is Ramon Colon. I've been inspector for 10 years. But before that, I was a mechanical engineer. I was really good at it, but even though I was really good, it was really boring, really very repetitive. And then out of the blue, I decided to try it out, and I ended up loving the career of home inspector. I ended up loving what I was doing as an inspector. I ended up loving the industry itself, like interacting with other inspectors was actually my favorite part. It was even more. It was even better than talking to the clients or talking to the realtors. And that's why I'm so involved with the industry. Like Michelle said, I started doing the wind mitigations for the MySafe Florida program right from the get-go. I think I was one of the first 10, and I got the opportunity to really get busy and even learn. Even though I was doing already inspections for many years, I learned how to pretty much prove everything that I knew. Because before that, it was like, oh, I've been doing like this for so many years. I just know. With this program, it's not like that. With this program, if something is A, it goes in hand with the paper, the permit document, the Florida approval number that says this is A. We don't get to guess. We don't get to just put our name and say we know better. And here is actually like I feel bad to engineer because you have to prove what you know. It's not just you saying that you know. And like Michelle said, we the InterNACHI developed this really cool free for InterNACHI members free template for wind mitigations, and I will jump right into it. So once you use the only thing you have to do to start the template is choose the address of the property, as you probably saw me while Michelle was explaining, and then you get to choose the inspection date. You get to choose the name of the homeowner, the phone number, and that's pretty much the first header of the 1802. You get to choose whether it's a townhouse. For the MySafe Florida program, we have to specify whether it's a townhome or a single home, but we keep the feature for the template. You can add the address, and it's pretty cool because as you're building your report, the report prints in the regular PDF form. So the regular 1802. You don't print what you see right now. You actually print the 1802. So as you're filling, everything is being filled for you. And the cool features is that let's assume that it picks it's checked for you. No, that was a mistake. So one of the cool features that it prevents you from doing mistakes. Once you put the application date, it auto select for the building code and the roof covering which of the categories I applies. At the end, you obviously review your work, but the template itself is helping you fill out the report. One of the things that I had before when I was doing retail wind mitigations was that I really had to double check because in cases like this, I would be making a mistake. I mean, if I would miss it again when I'm reviewing, the mistake would be caught by the insurance agent. I don't want that. You want everything except for that. And like I said, you get to choose. Sorry, I cannot think of a date and talk at the same time. In the roof covering, you do have to select because you got different because you have different options whenever you have, for example, 2 different types of roofs. And again, you keep selecting, you keep adding the pictures for each sections, and it's very organized. Some of the softwares that I work with, you do the entire report, and then when you're pulling pictures at the very end, you have to kind of remember the order, so you can have kind of a story. The cool thing of this is that it gives you the pictures in the order that the report is built, and you do it as you're building, so you don't forget anything. The roof cover, the roof geometry, it calculates it for you. And lets you know, let's say that you have less than 10%, let's say you have 9 feet, it tells you it's hip. If you have more, it lets you know that it's older. If you got more than 5 units on a flat roof, you just click here, and then you do it by the area. Delete. I'm troubleshooting here. Yeah, we have to fix that. When you click on the checkbox, it will give you the flat roof. And again, it just pretty much does it for you. Don't worry, by tomorrow this will get fixed. and so on. Like Isaac said, our most intricate, most detailed portion of the report is the opening. You get that call from the client, which opening we have to replace when they move into a new house. The way that we set up the template, you actually be able to comment on that specific picture, which one it is. So if you have, let's say 55 opening and only one is the one that's not protected, when you add the pictures, it will allow you to put that that's the one opening that needs to be protected, which it limits a lot of the unnecessary calls. And then you can add public notes and any other documentation like PDF for the bill facts, for the permit search engines. You can add any documentation like for the approval numbers to back up your report within the report. And that's our biggest thing. Our biggest thing is to back up everything, whether it's impact or not, to prove it within the report. And then you continue, and the final page will give you an option to put the open protection. But I'll bring it back to Michelle so we can continue talking about everything else that we have to talk.
Yep. So actually, Ramon, I just have you scroll up just a little bit. So even for question number 1, if you go all the way back up to the top. So as Ramon said, there are some built-in fail safes to this form. So building code, once you select the building code, whether it's South Florida building code or whether it's Florida building code, that is going to change the answers that are available in the drop-down underneath. So this software is going to help you complete more accurate inspections. It's going to keep you from making errors just because you're in a hurry and you're marking your box. So I think that's something that is really I like to highlight it because the programming team has put a lot of effort into putting those particular features into this form. When you get down to roof covering, for example, you can choose multiple types of roof covering. And then based on what you select, it will make a suggestion on what you should mark. So again, it will help you complete an accurate inspection. I think one of the biggest struggles for new inspectors when they're starting out is you can get a PDF, you can even get a fillable PDF, but then putting it together with all of your photos, that's where the real challenge comes in. And sometimes you don't have access to software that does it. So as an InterNACHI member, now you have it for free. Ramon, if we can go back down to the opening protection, I do want to talk a little bit about the opening protection because this is something that's very different that most inspectors who do retail inspections aren't used to. So in the MySafe Florida Home Program, we do have to provide counts of glass, windows, and doors. How many glass, windows, and doors are there on the house? So if there are 15 windows and doors with glass in them that are categorized A, you're going to put a 15. And then if there's one that's not covered, then that's going to be X. And then this software will automatically mark X for you when the PDF of the 1802 is generated. So that's important. It's important because then you know that you've reported the openings correctly. It's also important because when the homeowner says, well, what do I need to do to fix this? Especially on purchases. What do I need to do to get shutter credit? Now they will know exactly how many openings they need to take care of, right? When you go to the second page, and Ramon, unless you put in all the photos and everything, I don't think it's going to let you go to the second page. But when you go to the second page of the software, at the very top, it is going to give you the option to bypass that page. You might want to bypass that page. The reason that page is there is because then you can specifically say, here is my glazed garage door, and here's proof that it's impact rated. So it allows you to put the opening and it allows you to put the proof next to it. We have to do that for the MySafe Home program, okay? If you had edit report, maybe it'll come up, Ramon. If you have X for an opening, right? Then you don't need to put any proof because obviously there is no proof. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't want to go to that level of detail, okay, and you don't want to put specifically every single opening and you don't want to put the proof of that opening, there is a box at the top that says skip this page. If you skip that page, it will take you to all of your photos, and then you could label your photos accordingly. So on the label page, you can say, this is my X window that's not covered. This is my large missile impact rated garage door. These are my roof deck attachment photos. Here's my 6-inch spacing, whatever. So you don't have to use that extra layer, but I would tell you that if you do, I think you're going to find a lot of homeowners, especially on purchases, who appreciate the level of detail that you went to, so they know exactly what they need to do in order to improve and harden their home, right? So I think it's just so user friendly, and I think it's really going to give so many inspectors, especially those who may not, you know, pay for software, because you pay for your membership, you pay for your education. Now you've got this tool that you're able to use. So I thank all of the programmers and, of course, InterNACHI for being able to provide this to all inspectors, right? Any questions on that? So Crystal is actually in the chat. You'll see her, you know, with the our team members that are present on this webinar. So Crystal is one of my partners in crime. I have another one named Allie. She's not here. Of course, Ramon handles all of our QC, and Crystal handles a lot of the interface with homeowners. She interfaces with all of the inspectors. So when Ramon's sending something back because he wants more documentation, Crystal's helping out with that. And I asked Crystal to join us to help out with the chat, to help out as far as like watching for any questions. So Crystal, if I could open it up to you just to introduce yourself, say hello, and then of course, let us know if you've seen any questions that we should address in regards to the form.
Hi guys, my name is Cristel Colon. In the program, I'm pretty much your assistant. I help you to deal with homeowners. That way you don't have to talk to homeowners. And if you have any questions, if you have you cannot find a permit, I'm your girl. I try to find the permits when you can't. And then there is actually a good question about fingerprinting. Do the inspectors have to do fingerprinting for this program every year or no?
So fingerprinting does not have to be renewed every single year, but it may have to be renewed from time to time. So inspectors who did their initial fingerprinting for My Safe Home, when we started My Safe Condo, the state did ask that those inspectors be re-fingerprinted. It had been 2.5 years, so they wanted it. And a lot of people ask like, well, I've already been fingerprinted 5 times because of this, and this. Do I need to do it again? And the answer is yes, absolutely. That fingerprinting is your level 2 background check. It's done by the Florida, I can't think of the organization right now because that has escaped my my term that I'm looking for, but the state of Florida will use your fingerprints to check your background and make sure you don't have anything violent in your background or anything like that. Because if you do have a felony, you're not eligible, right? Of course, anything violent, you're not eligible. If you have anything pending that is potentially, you know, could be a felony, I have seen them turn down applicants for that. So just be aware. Now, there are inspectors who have medical use cards for marijuana. As long as you have a valid medical use card, you can participate in this program. You do have to provide your card though every year when you renew. And Crystal, I did see while you were doing your introduction, I saw a question come up about compensation. So we do not discuss compensation in public. Compensation is different among the different WCEs, the wind certification entities. So what happens is when you are doing the onboarding process, if we need to have a private conversation about compensation, then we can do that. And that's not a problem at all, but we don't discuss compensation publicly. I will say that InterNACHI pays very well, in my opinion, especially, you know, when you are doing volume inspections. And the volume is there, you know, when we're doing initials, and sometimes it's a little slower, but overall, it works out to be very nice. Other questions, Crystal?
Right now, somebody asked if the labels are built in for the caption of the pictures. I believe there's certain sections. Ramon, correct me if I'm wrong. There are certain sections that are built in. Opening is one of them. When you upload your picture, you pick which side of the house that picture is from or that opening is from, and what kind of opening. So you'll scroll down, and then you can pick if it's a window, if it's a door, and then I believe it will be on your right side. You pick which side of the house it is. So you will scroll down and then pick your choice, and then the built-in label for that one, it will say something in the likes of opening X, window left side of the home, and then yep. So you select the location and the type of window, and then it will transfer that to the label. I believe roof to wall is also picked, and it's also built in. And what else, Ramon? I forgot.
The labels for the photos for the openings will appear if you don't bypass the second page. So on this retail version of the form, on the version that we're releasing to all inspectors, you can bypass that page. But if you choose to categorize your openings, which I would like to encourage you to do, then your labels, of course, will auto-populate, which is pretty cool, right? But not all the labels do pre-populate. We did have some of that in the beginning, and the pre-populated labels actually created a lot of confusion. So it was on purpose that we took some of that out. And Crystal, while you were talking, I saw another question pop up about, do you have to sign a contract? No, you do not have to sign a contract. However, there is a non-compete. So what does that mean? That means if you're doing an inspection for a MySafe Home client, you cannot do a retail inspection for that client if you met them through MySafe Home for 2 years. Okay. So in some cases, you know, they'll call you and they'll say, I want a 4-point. And what we usually do is we refer them to another InterNACHI inspector. It's not every inspection, but it does happen because obviously everybody does a great job. And so homeowners want to use somebody who's great. Will that change in the future? Possibly. There is talk that we might be allowed to do 4-point inspections or things like that for MySafe Home clients. But as of right now, you have to sign that non-compete for 2 years. But other than that, no, you don't have to sign a contract. It is a lot of work. You are in charge of your own scheduling. You can schedule appointments for MySafe Home or MySafe Condo at your convenience, but you do have to make attempts to schedule within the first 24 to 36 hours of you receiving the assignment. And you do have to document those, right? Crystal, other questions?
I do not see any more. Hold up. How many inspections can we inspect per week, per day?
I can't answer that. So, you know, in the beginning, inspectors, and we're talking 2.5 years ago when the program was first funded, inspectors were receiving, you know, anywhere from 20 to 40 inspections a week. We haven't seen that volume in a couple years, like since the very beginning, right? So it's probably been 1.5 years, 2 years since we've seen that. If we get a new influx of money from the state, is it possible we could go back up to the volume? Absolutely. Right now, that's not the case. And so, and Isaac can probably speak to this. And so, Isaac, if you want to unmute yourself, like when we brought you on, I told you, like, dude, I may not have that much work for you, right?
That is correct.
How has that worked out for you?
Well, as you mentioned, you know, on my end, it's been busy and then it slows down a little bit and then picks up again. But you're constantly are working. And as you mentioned, the great thing about it is that when Crystal sends out the assignments, you are able to schedule them so you can still continue to be busy with your own schedule and then fit in the MySafe within the periods that you may not have an inspection schedule. So it's been great overall. As you also mentioned, you may not be busy every day, but the way I look at it is free money from, the place that you graduated from. It's like your school is paying back to you. That's how I look at it.
I love that. I think that's awesome. Right? I think that's really terrific.
I see a question about Spectora. Does Spectora have this software? No, no other company has this software. We built it. It's our own software, in-house developed proprietary software. And InterNACHI has provided this inspection software for free for every InterNACHI member.
Yep. And if you're going to participate in this program, you do have to use this software. You cannot use your own software. And that part of the reason is because there's a specific report that's generated for it for the My Safe Florida Home program. But on the retail side, to me, none of the other softwares out there offer anything like this software where it will help you complete the form accurately. They give you a fillable PDF, they give you a place to drop pictures, but they don't help you complete the form. And InterNACHI has actually taken the time to help you do the report correctly by choosing a couple selections, and then it will fill in the blanks for you. So I think that's a huge advantage, aside from the fact that it's free.
And it comes out as the 1802 PDF form.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so it just looks like the state insurance approved form itself. And then it comes out as a PDF, and you can use Fetch Report to put it in the cloud, and that's free as well. InterNACHI's Fetch Report system, where your clients can receive a PDF reports easily. That's a free system as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Anything else?
Other questions? Okay, so if there aren't other questions, I just want to touch base one more time on how you can participate in this program. Okay, it's really important. Go to those portals. So Florida, local programs, My Safe Home, My Safe Condo, go to the dashboard. Even if it says it's on pause, get started. Okay, get your CPI designation. Go ahead and start, submitting your 5 wind mitigation reports for review. Right now, we've got time to review them. It's a great time for you to go in and start, giving the information that is requested in that portal. Because when it comes time for us to need inspectors, like I need inspectors and it'll be yesterday. And so I'll go to the areas that I'm looking to hire. I will see who is a CPI and who's completed their portal, and that's where I'm going to start. So I would highly encourage you, even though it says on pause, just go ahead and get started. So your information is there when we're ready to hire. It's very likely I will be looking to bring on to both programs in July and August, if not sooner. So I would like to encourage everybody to go ahead and get started with that.
Wonderful. Well, you want to wrap it up, folks? Is that good?
I'm good.
All right.
That's great.
Well, let me remind everybody how to get to the resources. No matter where you are, if you're an InterNACHI member, just log into your InterNACHI account, click the dashboard button at the top right corner, go to the left side and click local resources, and then click where you live. InterNACHI tries to provide everything you need to be successful. And in Florida, you click the Florida button and you get to enroll in these special programs. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. Ramon, Crystal, Isaac, and AJ, thanks for helping us with the webinar, and everybody attending. If you didn't get your question answered, feel free to reach out to the team. They'll answer it for you offline. I'm Ben Gromicko from InterNACHI, and for everybody here at InterNACHI and the My Safe Florida Home Program and the My Safe Condo Pilot Program, thank you so much. We'll see you. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Bye, y'all.